R2's back, of course, talking FF7, we're talking Rebirth, we're talking a bit about the ending, the fate of Aerith. We're not talking theories necessarily, just a pretty cool idea that I came across. Well, I suppose cool might not be the right word exactly. By the way, we're trying out a different mic today. It's not really any different, honestly, but it saves room so I can, do shit here. I had this one for a little bit, been meaning to try it out for a while. I still have my old mic right here. It's just this mic arm gets in the way a lot when I'm trying to, use the keyboard and, look at shit on my screen, so I figured we'd test this out a little. You guys can let me know if it's any different at all, because I don't think it is. Anyways, onto the subject matter. So I was on Reddit, and I seen a post by somebody kind of complaining about the ending, mostly about not getting to see, iconic moments from the original game, like the lines that Cloud says after Aerith dies, where you're just never going to hear her laugh or cry again, and not getting to see, the water burial. And in the replies, I seen, a really cool idea for something they might do with the third game, but in regards to the actual post itself, those things are actually in the game, to a certain degree. We see Cloud embracing Aerith and talking during the sequence. We obviously just don't hear the lines of dialogue, but it has been confirmed by the devs that he is saying those iconic lines from the original FF7. We know this because of a translation from the Ultimania. Toriyama confirms that Cloud is saying those iconic lines. It's obviously unfortunate that we don't actually get to hear it in game, because I really would have liked to have heard Cody Christian deliver those lines, but we'll more than likely actually hear it in the third game. Given what they're doing with the ending of Rebirth, where Cloud's not kind of accepting reality, we're definitely revisiting this moment at a later point, which kind of ties into what we're talking about in this video. Also, somebody mentioned in the replies to the Reddit thread that Cody Christian confirmed that the lines are recorded, and if that is the case and we didn't get to hear them in Rebirth, we're definitely going to hear them in the third game. And then the water burial scenes also towards the ending after all the boss fights and stuff like that. We see our group sitting in front of a body of water. Everybody's pretty sad looking, except for Cloud, of course, who's in denial. Again, it does suck that we don't actually get to see the moment, but it's implied that it did happen, and it's something that we might also revisit in the third game. I just want to point that out for people that might have a similar feeling when it comes to the ending of Rebirth, because this Reddit post does have a decent amount of upvotes. That those things are in the game, it's just, obviously people are going to have different opinions on how it was handled. Anyways, onto the subject matter of somebody replying to the Reddit thread, and they were just saying that, they're probably going to see this type of stuff in Part 3, as we kind of already discussed in the video, but they also mentioned a cool idea. At least I think it's kind of cool. Again, I guess cool is not the right word. Sephiroth trying to convince Cloud in the third game that he's the one that killed Aerith. So they say, you'll probably see that all in Part 3 when Sephiroth shatters his mind. Actually, maybe we'll see it during the livestream sequence with Tifa. Sephiroth would more than likely twist it to show that Cloud killed Aerith, and then Tifa will help show the truth while repairing his broken mind. So, for one, I kind of like this idea because it's a bit of a spin on a theory people had leading up to Rebirth of, at the end of the game, potentially manipulated Cloud, right? We knew the game was ending at Forgotten Capital, Aerith's fate. And a lot of people were thinking that maybe we'd get a Cloud that kills Aerith, right? As in, so we keep it like the original, Aerith still dies, but how do we top it, or surpass it, or change it up for the modern audience, or for people that played the original, something like that, right? And this is a way you could kind of do that. It's obviously not actually Cloud killing Aerith, but if Sephiroth is trying to convince Cloud in the third game, when he's trying to manipulate him, break him mentally, those sorts of things, if he comes to the realization that, for one, Aerith is dead, but also Sephiroth convinces him that he's the one that killed Aerith, maybe when he tried to deflect Sephiroth's blade, that could potentially break him way more than he ever did in the original FF7, which would be kind of interesting. Because obviously when it comes to the ending of Rebirth, Cloud is in denial, right? I'm not saying that Aerith can't actually be there in some way, obviously, because she's not fully dead even when it comes to the compilation, right? She's still interacting with Cloud years after her actual death. So she's probably there in some actual way, but obviously the rest of the group doesn't see her. Red 13 kind of senses her, obviously, but the rest of the group doesn't see her. Regardless, Cloud is in denial. So if he gets that 1-2 punch of, oh, Aerith's actually dead, and I didn't know that this entire time, but also if he thinks he's the one that actually delivered the killing blow, it's going to break him more than we kind of ever really thought of. Also, at the same time, it'll almost make the livestream sequence in some ways better, because if Cloud's more broken than he was in the original FF7, then Tifa has to come along and repair his broken mind even more than the original, right? Is coming to terms with his true past, that Aerith has been dead this whole time, but also he's not the one that actually killed her. It could actually surpass the original in its own way. Which is kind of crazy to think about, because in some ways, it's maybe the most iconic scene from FF7. It's a lot of the devs' favorite scene. We talked about this before a lot, but the devs have been quoted as saying, for them, that's kind of the ending of the game, even though there's still plenty more after that. But repairing Cloud's mind is a lot of the conclusion of the story for a lot of people, right? So if they can find a way to top what is such an iconic scene, something I'm actually excited for. I want to say, though, the person mentions Sephiroth fucking with Cloud during the livestream sequence. In the original game, there is no Sephiroth fucking with Cloud during that. It's just Tifa and Cloud and them repairing his mind, right? That doesn't mean it can't be different for the third game, because of course it can. We've already seen kind of a livestream sequence with Tifa a bit in Rebirth when she gets swallowed, and Sephiroth does appear there and try to attack the weapon and stuff like that. So it's possible that he could interfere with the livestream sequence in the third game, but Where he does fuck with Cloud in the original FF7 is during like the North Crater kind of like flashback illusion thing that he shows the group, and trying to convince Cloud that he's not real and he's a puppet, and show him the picture of like Tifa, Zack, and Sephiroth. Shout out to Ultimate786 on Twitter for reminding me when the scene takes place. I don't know why I always forget when Sephiroth shows that picture to Cloud, but for some reason I do. Every time I need to reference it for a video and try to track down a clip of it and talk about it, I'm like, I don't remember when this fucking happens. I don't know why. I will say that I don't personally kind of want Sephiroth there for the live stream sequence, because I think it's like a good moment for Tifa and Cloud, right? In the original game, he's not there other than being a part of memories and stuff like that when they're going through his minds. Like, Sephiroth's not actually there on the sideline like, hey, that's not real, that didn't happen, this is the truth. Like, I don't necessarily want him to be a part of that. It's just such an intimate moment for Tifa and Cloud, right? It's just for them. It's kind of them coming to culmination of like everything up to that point in the story, and I don't want other characters being a part of that. It'd be really, you already have a moment from the original FF7 where Sephiroth really tries to manipulate Cloud, where he actually officially breaks the North Crater, right? And that's like the perfect moment to try to do all of this stuff. It doesn't need to be within the live stream sequence. But that's pretty much it for the video. I just want to talk about this a little bit and kind of get your guys' like thoughts on this idea of like Sephiroth using Aerith's death to like fuck with Cloud even more. Once Cloud like learns the truth that she's actually died, instead of being like that typical bad guy that just kind of brags about, haha, I'm the one that killed her type shit or whatever, to try to like fuck with Cloud, like taking her death and fucking with Cloud even more by trying to convince him that he's the one that killed her when trying to save her. I think there's a really interesting idea there. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Search in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, _DavidBusiness. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.